How's it going today, guys? Castillo Trading coming to you with another VIP live stream. It is Monday and it's part of our weekly video series, guys. Monday is for live streams. This is where we go over all of our setups. First things first, shout out to the stream sponsors, guys, of CoinCatch and Breakout Prop. CoinCatch is the perpetual exchange of choice that I like to use. No KYC, no VPN. Great team over there. Met with them here in Vegas. I think they have a lot of potential upside coming. We've got some great listings over there. So shout out to CoinCatch, and then also shout out to Breakout Prop. Guys, if you have the skill set but lack funding, Breakout Prop is exactly where you need to be, right? You do have to pay to kind of prove that you are capable of taking on an account of like 50K, 100K, whatever you want to use. But when I first got started, guys, in traditional finance, I used a prop firm. It's very easy to kind of be able to get that funding. And then again, guys, there's low risk when you're kind of trading with someone else's capital, and then you can kind of learn until you build your own, and then you can kind of start with your own portfolio after you kind of get comfortable. So shout out to the guys over at Breakout Prop. They are doing an incredible job kind of building that platform into being, crypto's #1 prop firm. Let's just get into our normal routine here. So the NPOC levels within range are going to be these ones up here at 108.547 and 109.597, right? So these are kind of the targets from above, right? This is where I want to be looking to be taking profits into. Why? Well, because it's a resistance level proven from back here at the end of May, right? We got a rejection, and then down here as well, support levels, looking to be buying support, looking to be taking profits into resistance. Resistance is still resistance until proven otherwise. So again, these are going to be take profit levels for me going forward, right? Will I close everything? Probably not. You guys know me. I like to dollar cost average in and dollar cost average out. That's really the way that I like to trade. Everything is still the same, guys. I'm not going to kind of hound you with continued setups. You know how I like to do my setups. You know that we do 1, we create the game plan. 2, we have patience for that game plan. And then 3, the most important part and the hardest part is executing that game plan. So this is a good example of the long that we just currently had down at that 102.950, right? The execution. A lot of people probably had patience. A lot of people probably had the game plan, but where they fumbled and they went wrong was getting the execution down, right? And again, I get it, right? There's headlines, it's scary. You see a lot of people posting charts on X calling sub 100,000. We had NPOC levels at 99. So I get the reasoning for not taking the trade, but also you gotta stick to your setups. You gotta put your money where your mouth is if you want to be able to capitalize on your trades. And so this is just a perfect example of a retest of that 102.956 NPOC level, and then a great bounce out of that. Now, if we go to the lows, right, we could see that this was probably about a 7% move to the upside. Again, you throw 10x leverage on that, that's a 70% increase on your position, which is huge. Also, if you are even just longing that 102.956, you're up around 5%. Again, you throw 10x long on that, that is a 50% move to the upside. So you got to be in that mindset of, hey, I have this game plan, I'm going to take this trade. Even if you don't want to go big size on the trade, right? Just to get comfortable and just to get experience, you can go, smaller size within all these NPOC levels. Some people come to my VIP chat over in the Telegram and they kind of expect like instant results right away. But as you guys know, there is downside. There is times where sometimes the NPOC levels don't work out. This just happened to be a good one that ended up with confluence of lower limit on our current range. We had NPOC print confluence as well. And then also we had headline FUD confluence. That's something that you can add as well. When people are scared, you know me, guys. I like to be buying a discount, and we got a discount across the board when those fucking 2 idiots started arguing on Twitter and all that shit kind of went down. You take that as an opportunity, as a gift, not something that's like, what's going on? Everybody's, arguing and, my positions are tanking, yada, yada, this and that. You got to stay level-headed within all that bullshit. So what's next, right? Everybody always wants to know what's next. Well, our short plan does stay the same, guys, from 6/2 earlier this month, last live stream. We're looking to be short around that 109.597, or that's a take profit level from our longs lower. So we're gonna keep the same short position. There's nothing that has changed as far as hedging. There's nothing that's changed as far as where I'm gonna be looking to take profits, all that sort of stuff. But the long position has changed a little bit. If we do get a retest, which I think it is possible to get a retest of these levels, if we retest down here, this is going to be my next area of interest to be longing. So NPOC levels on Ethereum stay the same. I still want a retest of 2607 and 2724. Now again, I want to go over the setup because it was pretty key. 2404 NPOC print was a print that I've been posting for a couple weeks that a lot of people kind of started talking shit about, right? I was posting it back here because I wanted a retest of it. I was posting it up here because I wanted a retest of it right here. And a lot of people thought it was going to get front run. I got a lot of shit saying, well, 2404 probably isn't going to get the retest, so you should long here. Lo and behold, what happened? Billionaires started arguing and we got the fucking retest. But we had been wanting that retest long before any idiots started arguing about fucking the Epstein files, right? Just think of how stupid that is. 2404 was an NPOC print that ended up getting hit because of Mr. fucking Epstein, right? But we saw it in the chart before it happened. Whatever the fuck your mindset is, whatever you're thinking about all of that shit, we saw the setup long before it happened, and that's why I will always say it's always within technicals. You can see retest levels before they happen, and then the headline hits, and then you get that retest. And a lot of people are gonna be like, oh yeah, it only happened because of the headlines. It only happened because Trump and Elon, yada, yada, this and that. But it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter what other people are saying or thinking. We knew 2404 was the area we wanted to long. That's what's key. Plan, patience, execute. The third one is always going to be hard, but again, with practice, with time, that's what you end up looking for, right? So NPOC prints stay the same on ETH. It's still kind of calling for higher. 2404 was the area that you wanted. And again, it didn't run the lows here, which is actually pretty good. So if you were basing an entry off of 2404 and you were risking the lows here, well, this is that time that, the stop loss level would have worked out. Against BTC, it wouldn't have worked out that great because we did run the lows. Ethereum held up a little more, which again, no, that is good. That means Ethereum has momentum. That means people are interested in actually trading Ethereum again. As shitty as it sounds to say, oh, we should continue to see Ethereum go higher. Look, I get it. Ethereum has caused a lot of damage to a lot of people, but all of that negative sentiment has been completely erased just because we had this impulse move, $1,000 move. It was a ridiculous move. It doesn't matter. I take this from TraderMain. Price going up is the only thing that is going to bring people back. It's not an NFT. It's not any fundamentals. It's price going higher. People don't give a fuck about that until price goes higher. So I do agree that price going up is the main key for people to watch. And Ethereum prices going up, negative sentiment goes out the window, and here we are creating a new range for potential next leg higher, which I do think happens 3K this month. I want 3K Ethereum and I want above, 110 BTC, right? And that's kind of what we're looking for. So yeah, NPOC prints stay the same, guys. We can look at the short. The short isn't any different, 2724. Again, why is that an area to short or hedge? Well, it is an area of resistance. We resisted it once, twice, 3 times, but again, that resistance is getting weaker. So I do think that it is possible to kind of leg higher up and kind of close that 2963. Now, a lot of people will look at this and they'll be like, oh, I'm going to miss the boat. I'm going to miss this. I'm going to miss that, whatever. But I do want to talk here. So if ETH does extend higher into that 2963, then we'll have a new range, right? We'll have created a new range with a new upper limit, with a new median ML. Median ML was once upper limit on the low term timeframes, right? So again, respecting support and resistance levels. And with that, maybe we get an NPOC print here, and we can retest some of these levels before we get a even bigger move up to like 4K, 5K. So that's the way that I'm looking at it. Let's just go over XRP really quick. It's just not really like an ideal entry. I think if you were to long XRP, it would have been down here, at that 160 to 180 area. If you're kind of longing at the 230, I do think you're chasing a little bit, especially if it's a leverage trade. But that doesn't mean that we can't retest this 260, right? So depends. I'm not going to chase XRP here, but the setup is good. It's kind of in that same range that BTC and ETH are at, where we retest this, we could potentially have a move to those local highs of about that 340. So I like XRP just because a lot of people are always focused on it. So I mean, VeChain is like weird. They've always been around. They like sponsor the UFC. So a lot of good moves for upside, honestly. Just know though, when the upside does happen, that it rejects a lot of the time. But I think VET is a good long-term hold. I think that it could potentially be, pretty much the same thing that we see here. Bouncing and moving off of a clear support and resistance area. Not a bad play. Not a bad play to at least aim for local highs of about that 3 cent area. I don't know what this is. I have no idea what NIL is. But again, very bottomed. Very bottomed. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think I would get into nil. I'd have to do a little bit more research on it. I'm not sure what it is, what it does, what sector it's even in. Just based off of the chart, not a bad chart, as we have retraced from highs of about that 37%. And so again, you could potentially look for a local target. And where can we find a local target? Well, let's dive into the low term time frames. So clear support right here that's being held up. Right? And then you could say potential long side and target could be, even like this area. Clear trend line that's struggling to break out of, but when it breaks out, about a 23% move to the upside, potentially even a 35% move to the upside here. So NIL, not a bad setup. I think that it's very clear that support is holding for now, and it's kind of just watching the majors like BTC and ETH to make sure those aren't collapsing when you're in those altcoin positions. We had the lows and we had a great move from beginning of April up to, the mid of May. And right now we're just in that retrace area, but that retrace is 29-30%. With that being said, I think that it's something to consider. What type of retrace are you willing to buy into during a bull run, right? So just know that during bull runs, it never goes straight vertical. There's always going to be downside. So again, you may see this breakout here and you're like, oh, I'm going to miss the boat. But ideally, it's still the same principles and rules that goes into Chainlink that we put into place with BTC and Ethereum. Well, if you throw a range on this is a premium. I don't want to be buying a premium. I want to be buying discounts. And I think a minus 30% move to the downside is a pretty good discount, because if you're willing to buy Link at $17, well, then you also better be willing to buy Link at $13. So that's just kind of my mindset. We're now kind of getting into that 30% discount, which again is good. I own Hype. Again, this is a spot buy that I have and it just looks beautiful, right? I don't remember my entry. I think my entry is like 20-ish, but yeah, this is a good one to hold long term. So again, someone was asking about what I hold long term. I do hold Hype long term. So, kind of just waiting to see how things play out, but I think it can at least get to 60. Not much technicals on this. We could kind of go into a 4-hour chart here. So 4-hour current range, we can kind of see where highs, where lows are. Again, just depends on your game plan, how you're looking to trade it. Same thing as BTC and ETH. This is not really an area that I look to be longing. And so again, this is a premium area. That's where you look to be taking profits or hedging. Not really my style to be longing Hype here. But if you're long lower, I still think that it has more room for upside. It's actually coming up to a resistance area that I am definitely not going to be longing. I think if you were too long, it would have been out of this deviation during all the Trump shenanigans, right? Like the sub $1. And this is kind of where I got bearish on it. But again, if it continues to break out, the targets are about that 132 and then local highs of about that 176 or 167. And if that is the case, if we do retest local highs of 167, I do think that we test all-time highs about that 273 area. So I like Fartcoin. I think, again, it's going to be a big mover just because there's a lot of people behind it. There's a lot of people trading it. There's a lot of hype behind it. I even have real-life friends talking to me about Fartcoin. So I do think it is here to stay, just not in a trade on it right now. Really appreciate everything that you guys are doing. Really appreciate you guys in the Telegram. I was supposed to do a giveaway last week. I never got into it. I never got to it. So we will be doing it this week. Maybe it's tomorrow. Maybe it's Wednesday. Maybe it's Thursday. But thank you guys so much. I love doing this content for you guys. I love creating this stuff for you. I really appreciate all your support no matter what, over on X, over on YouTube. Any way that you can support me, I will continue to be giving you guys my content for free. Thank you so much, and I'll see you over in the Telegram. Peace out.